Alright, so this is the Indian Prime Minister in Lumbini in Nepal. Remember, Nepal happens to be a very close ally of India, with which India shares historical and cultural linkages. This is an equation that goes back thousands of years, and this is of course what the Indian Prime Minister is there to strengthen further. But the challenges of the 21st century are very different. Remember, India and Nepal together are trying to develop the Ramayana circuit and also the Buddhist circuit, because this is the area where there are several important towns which historically have been, and religiously have been, very significant. Connectivity between these towns of religious importance is sought to be improved, and with that there is an attempt to try and in many ways facilitate religious tourism in this particular region that encompasses and includes both India and Nepal. But the challenges of the 21st century, of course, demand a completely different type of response, because what's been happening in the last couple of decades is that China has been trying to increase its sphere of influence. It's been making a concerted and a very long-term effort to try and increase its influence in Nepal. To a certain extent, it has also succeeded, and it is going to be very interesting to see as to how India, of course, counters the influence of the Chinese in Nepal. This is a visit by the Indian Prime Minister. He has, of course, met the Nepalese Prime Minister, Sher Bahadur Deoba. He was received by the Nepalese Prime Minister at Lumbini, and the Indian Prime Minister, of course, will be holding bilateral level talks. This is an equation that the Indian nation must pay a lot of attention to, because what's been happening over the course of the last couple of decades is a concerted effort by the Chinese to try and increase their influence in South Asia, in different countries in South Asia, in Sri Lanka, for instance, in Pakistan, and also in the Maldives. Nepal, the Himalayan nation, has had very close cultural and religious and in many ways ethnic linkages with India. The Chinese did not, of course, could not boast of having these relations with Nepal, but the equation is now changing. There is a lot of Chinese influence within the country. China is making a huge amount of investments in Nepal. India has been slightly slow off the blocks in trying to increase its linkages with Nepal economically, because the Chinese, with the bigger money that they, of course, come with, have made a head start. The Indian Prime Minister that you're looking at on your screens will, of course, have to up India's game in countering China's influence in Nepal. A very crucial relationship in India's neighborhood. This is effectively a nation that has been very friendly with India because of our close cultural and religious and historical ties in the past. But the challenges of the 21st century are very different. It is very impressive that these religious and these religiously important tourist places, the linkages are being strengthened here. But the response that needs to come will have to focus on geopolitics, on the finances aspect of it, in terms of internet connectivity, where, remember, China, of course, has been offering internet connectivity to the people in Nepal, something that India should have been doing to begin with. And these are issues that will have to be addressed. These are issues that need a long-term strategy. This bilateral visit by the Indian Prime Minister is, of course, one step in a long journey to strengthen the relationship of India and Nepal, a very important relationship in South Asia. And the Indian Prime Minister, of course, through his diplomatic charm, is trying to woo the Nepalese people further. over the course of the last few years, there have been some problems between India and Nepal. These are problems that could have been avoided, but they'll have to be dealt with. And there's also this border dispute issue that has cropped up where the former Nepalese Prime Minister, KP Sharma Oli, he had resorted to what many describe as cartographic expansion. He had, of course, laid claim the Indian territories of Kalapani, Lipulekh and Limpiadhura. However, the Nepalese constitution was amended, and these territories of Limpiadhura, Kalapani and Lipulekh were claimed by the Nepalese nation as their own territories, and they wanted the Indians to step back from there. This is a difficult sort of a negotiation, but this is something that will have to be addressed, but it will be addressed in due course. But to begin with, what will have to be addressed is increasing, in many ways, the close financial linkages which India and Nepal, of course, have enjoyed. In terms of people-to-people connect, this is a relationship that's as strong as it gets in terms of having a free border movement of people from Nepal into India and vice versa. And this is a relationship that in many ways will determine the nature of the Himalayan frontier that India, of course, has. And Nepal is a crucial factor for India in terms of having its borders secure there. India and Nepal are two close allies, two close friends. The Indian Prime Minister there praying and meditating for a very healthy and a prosperous relationship between India and Nepal.
Buddham namaste ihastu sosti Izangamata tatai bastabara Tisarva satva sukhino bhavantu.
WION is now available in your